Hello, friends. It's Angela here, and I just recorded a hilarious blooper right before this, so we're going to try that again. This is a video that I am recording for Kids Life and the Zone, and there is so much going on behind the scenes. I think I'm going to post updates here and there, and I think they might come a lot more often than I had originally thought. That would be great to do, but I'm starting to realize it might be as often as weekly, so I'll try to keep them super short and interesting enough that you want to watch them. But we have all met at various times to talk about this change with Orange that is coming, and I am so excited about it, and we all got the sense of how big it is and how much work it'll be to get there. But then we've gone silent on it because there's so much work to be done behind the scenes. I've been working on that. And I just realized somebody asked me a question this Sunday that was like, oh, I have got to keep you up to date because I'm getting excited working on it. But how could you get excited if you have no idea what's happening? So let me just catch you up a little bit on where we have been and what's going on this week. And then from here, I'll just start keeping you up to date a little bit more often. So we have embraced the Orange philosophy in theory, and we began by setting up a team to help us start to actually get to know what that means. In the original research, we could totally resonate with the heart behind how they wanted to approach children's ministry and how they partner with families and what resources they offer us to feel like, okay, this is what we want. But in order to figure out how to execute that, we had to do some seriously deeper dive into this. And so that's what we have been doing. Things like, if we were to embrace this philosophy, what needs to change about our classrooms? If we were to embrace this philosophy, who do we need to have on our teams? It's a completely different org chart to actually make that happen. So that's what we have been doing behind the scenes, and it's been so enlightening. And the further we get into the Orange philosophy, the more I am so grateful to be headed this way. I got into this business because I really want to reach the world for God. I really want people to experience what I experience in my relationship with Him and how He affects my life here and obviously my life in the future, like eternity, that. But really, honestly, I want to save souls for the eventual future, but I really want people to experience full life now, and that includes teeny tiny babies and how their parents partner with them to make their life full and rich and happy and all the way through. So to actually have a resource that helps me understand how we can use our efforts to make the most impact that we can, both to partner with families in the huge impact that they make in kids' lives, but also how to use our time and our resources and relationships to make it happen. And the further we press in, I am not just like flashy impressed, I am like deeply impressed with what God has done to bring this resource together. So that's where we've been. Just this week, I had a meeting with part of who God has brought onto that team is somebody that's really good at training. You're going to meet Judy Arrow eventually, but she was a teacher her entire career and then moved into school administration, has recently retired, and she is throwing her considerable talent behind this idea specifically to partner with us in getting us trained. I met with her this week, and she has completely laid out, here is how I would like to approach this topic, and we would need these people in this room to talk about this stuff, and then at this point, we would need to empower this group of people to begin training these people. And it's beautiful. So in the past, we have done a training here or there, and I would mostly say in triage form, like something is going terribly wrong. So we partner together and talk about how we can fix that. This is the first time I think ever New Life will be proactively training. And you can tell by the way that Judy approaches this, which matches my heart, but she has the skill and the ability to do it. So fun. You can tell by the way she thinks about training that with this Orange transition, a side benefit is not just the necessity of training, but we will begin to value ongoing training where we don't just feel good about the effort that we put into our relationships and our children's ministry volunteering, but we begin to feel incredibly successful at it. And we are improving our skill set and our personhood through the process of being involved in ministry. Ministry was always supposed to be symbiotic, that you gave and you received. And we were starting to get a glimpse of how that could be that here using something like our training. That's just one, but using something like our training. So that is super cool. Also this week, I'm in touch with a consultation company. I'm going to do a whole other video on this one, but we are into the serious looking at blueprints side of things to begin to build two different partnerships One for construction, which is actually constructing walls and demolishing walls and making sure that there's electrical where we need it. But then there is also what they call the cosmetic side of things. After we get the walls where we need them, we will consult with a company who actually does the decor stuff. So I'm gonna do a whole video on that later, but that got rolling this week. I've been meeting with people that know things about construction to get myself on point with that. But then this week I struck up the conversation with a company that we want to partner with for the cosmetic side of things. So that ball is rolling. And then all right, so there was specialized teams to help us understand the Orange philosophy enough to figure out how to make our rooms. We have a proposed room usage layout. Like we're going to need to move this door over here. We're going to need to move that wall over here. This wall has to come out completely. We need to build a wall here. Like we have a pretty good sketch out of how we want to use our rooms, and it's pretty impressive. The team did a great job. All right, so there's some things about where we are with construction, with the orange overhaul, and where we have been and what we've been working on in this silence. I'm sorry about the silence. I'll get that fixed. There's one last thing I would just, want you to know that we're working on. Based on your feedback, regular feedback of how painful it can be to have first service be so gigantic, but then also second service be so small, that the disparity between those services causes us some trouble. So I ran that up the flagpole, and the staff is currently doing some statistical research and some observation and some discussion to figure out maybe we need to change our service times one way or the other to get these services to balance out. We were already in those dialogues before school started, and then school started, and I don't know if you have noticed, but everybody came back and some. We have had some of our highest regular attendance Sundays, like not special event Sundays, the last 3 weeks after school started. And so it threw off some of what we thought was going to happen with the service time. So we're going back to the drawing board to just talk about, before we make a big change like that, why do we think it would work the way that we want it to work? What are the consequences if we were to do that? So I just wanted to give you a heads up. We're talking about what we might do with our service times to ease some of the struggle that we're all feeling. Kids Life and the Zone are not the only ones that feel that, but it affects our church. So we're just going to see if service times need to be renegotiated to help even out those services a little bit better. That's a little bit like a drink from a fire hose, but that's because I've been silent for so long. So I'm going to try to keep these videos in general to like 3 minutes so I could do them more often and you don't dread them because they're so long. But to get us cracking, I just wanted to start giving you some stuff. It'd be fine to post questions, even though I'm going to do updates in the future. If you've got questions about what I said here, go for it. I would like to have a dialogue. I wish I had more time to have meetings with us so that you could be asking your questions and I could be talking about what is so exciting and how you could get excited, and even in some cases how you could be involved before things are unveiled. So post your questions. I'll go for it. All right. I love you guys. I love working with you. I love being in this big, hairy dream that we are currently working our way through. I would not mind your prayers at all. I pray for you regularly too. I hope you know that. All right. Let's keep talking.